Write things down. Do the things that you're passionate about. Write in your journal, color, draw, have a glass of wine. Sure, that's your rest time. You're allowed. There must be a point when you know when to stop, when you know when to work, when you know when to rest, and when you know when to play. It is really, really important to be able to have glaring boundary lines and divisions between these parts of your life and give equal amount of attention to all of them. Is it worth it to actually be sitting there and thinking to yourself, I need to do this, I need to do that, I got it. Is it actually worth it? You need to set the time limits and stick to them. This is a big test in form of discipline. Know what your values are. What do you put value on? Life is not just about work. There must be some sort of a balance. That's what makes life all the more worth living. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As always, thank you so much for choosing me over and over and over. Again, welcome back to another Just 10 with Kat. We're hanging 10. We're going to be talking about creating a healthy work-life balance. This is so important. It's another real talk video. All these Just 10 with Kat are going to be under the Real Talk playlist. So everything where I talk about things that might be helpful for us, things regarding mental health, personal growth, intellectual growth, professional growth, emotional growth, anything that might have to do with just life in general and that might help us propel us to be better individuals and better versions of ourselves, you will find in the Real Talk playlist, just like you will find the Just 10 with Kat, okay? As you know, the Just 10 with Kat are going to be very short videos that you can listen to while you're cooking and doing your thing. They're going to be anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes long, maybe slightly even a bit longer than that, but not more than, hopefully not more than 18 minutes long. Okay, so this time around we're going to talk about creating a healthy work-life balance. This is something that I deal with a lot as somebody who has 3 jobs and somebody who coaches, and I coach people and individuals, professionals that are constantly working, that are in very high pressure, high demanding corporate jobs and all of that. And one of the biggest things that we often go through a lot of the time is creating a healthy work-life balance. Now, why do we want to create a healthy work-life balance? Because at some point, your life can't just be centrally focused on one thing. Because if it is, other parts of your life begin to suffer. And when the other parts of your life begin to suffer, a large part of you mentally and emotionally, maybe sometimes even physically, starts to deteriorate. So it's really important to notice that when you have a healthy balance between all the facets of your life, all the important things that are currently happening in your life, it is a good way to start to be able to manage your time, to be able to manage all the things that are happening and not centrally focus your life on one part of your life. Because it's important to realize that we are not our jobs. We are not just our relationships. We are not just living on an island as an individual. There are people that live with us. There are people that live around us. There are relationships that we need to nurture. We need to nurture our work relationships, but at the same time, we need to nurture our relationship with our children and our parents and our siblings and our lovers and all of that. Very important to also pay attention to all of those things. But creating a healthy work-life balance means that you need to be aware and cognizant of the fact that you need to be okay at your core with everything that's happening around you and how busy life can get each and every single day. That you need to be okay at your core so that you can mentally function daily, every single day. And it is important because it helps you create boundaries. It helps you manage your time. It helps you know what's important, what's not, prioritizing certain things to you. Creating a work-life balance helps you do that. And if you cannot do that, then I'd like to say I stopped myself there. But I'd like to say then some parts of your life will inevitably suffer. They will. So this is how you can do it. We're going to do it quick fire, rapid, quick, fast-ish. Okay? Right. Very, very important is know when to rest and know when to work and know when to play. And this was the first thing that jumped out at me when I was writing down the notes for this, because I thought to myself that I was speaking to someone who works in the financial sector, right? Works for one of the big banks. And she was telling me about her work schedule. And I was thinking to myself, this is absolutely unacceptable. There must be a point when you know when to stop, when you know when to work, when you know when to rest, and when you know when to play. It is really, really important to be able to have glaring boundary lines and divisions between these parts of your life and give equal amount of attention to all of them. I know when we work for corporate, so many of us can sit here and talk about unhealthy corporate toxic culture. We can talk about it. I can do a completely separate video about it. But we know that we find ourselves continuously working. You're working when you're at work. You're working while you're in your car because you're on a Teams call and you're on your way to grab lunch, but you're on a Teams call. You're working when you're walking into the house at 7 o'clock at night. You're on a Teams call. You're working while you're cooking. You're working while you're eating your dinner. You're working. At which point do you say to yourself, I need to stop. I need to get some rest. I need to cook my dinner while I'm listening to music. I don't need to be available. And I say this with a large grain of salt because there are certain moments in the corporate space where you have to be online. You have to be present. If you do have to be present, fantastic. Not a problem. Work if you have to, right? There's certain, like in my line of work, let me give you an example. When we are pouring concrete on site, there's certain conditions in which the concrete needs to be poured. There's certain times. If we're running behind, we need to work overtime. But one thing I know that is very, very prominent in the construction sector is that when work cuts off at a certain time, especially if you're somebody who works on site and all of that, once your laborers leave, once the people who work on the sites and they toil during the day when the sun is sky high, once they leave, the job is done. Everybody's going home. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, everybody's going home. The only time there are exceptions is when we are running behind schedule, overtime, all of that kind of thing, or when we need weather to be a certain way so that we can do a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's so important to create that healthy work-life balance where you know when to switch off. It must be on the forefront of your mind. One of the things that I'm very religious with, and even the clients that I coach, they know there's a certain week I skip and I do not coach. I'm literally just at work all week. I go to work in the morning, I return in the afternoon, and that's it. I'm not dealing with anything else after that. I get home, I unless there's an emergency, guys, there's always that exception, unless there's an emergency. But if I'm coming home, the work culture that we have where I work, at work, the work culture that we have and we've always had, and I've worked there for over 10 years, the work culture that we've always had is that 4:30 everybody knocks off, everybody goes home. We don't even encourage taking work home. Like, work what you can now and then go home and rest and be with your family and nurture your relationships. It's so important because it gives your mind a break. It gives you a moment to rest and not think about constantly having to worry about this, work, that, or the other. If it's in your personality to constantly be worrying about work, that's just your personality. The reality is, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, no matter how much time and effort and overtime that you might put into your work, at the end of the day, if anything happens to you, you can easily be replaced the next week at that very same job by somebody else. You can have a complete mental breakdown and they will have somebody in your position as a stand-in the very next day who's going to do whatever you were doing in the interim until they can employ somebody to take in your job full time. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to actually be sitting there and thinking to yourself, I need to do this, I need to do that, I got it. Is it actually worth it? Set time limits. Set time limits and stick to them. Do not, the moment you start swaying on time limits that you set for yourself, you will sway all the time. Set time limits, set those boundaries, because a time limit is a boundary. So own up to your own boundary that you just set, right? Set the time limit and stick to it. So if you say you're going to do something for 2 hours, okay? Gonna return from work and I want to work for maybe another hour and then I'm gonna shut it down. Work for that hour. Even though you realize that I'm not finished, I didn't get to where I wanted to be, it's fine. Work that hour, close the laptop. Switch off the desktop, go downstairs, make yourself some dinner. Make yourself some food. I don't say go downstairs because I'm looking at the stairs. Go downstairs, make yourself some dinner. Set time limits. If you are telling yourself that on weekends, I do not work, which is something I'm very religious about doing. I don't even edit. If I put up content on the weekend, it was already done earlier on in the week. It's literally just clicking, publish. And that's it. I'm very meticulous and I'm very unapologetic over the fact that on the weekends, I sit and I couch potate. Okay? And I meet people and I go out to coffee dates and lunch dates and all of that. That's what I do on my weekends. I spend time with my family. I go over to my sister's house. She cooks for me. I go over to my mom's house. We sit, we have wine and we watch TV and I play with Khanya and I do whatever. This fuels me. And I do not negotiate unless there is something that I have to do and it's over the weekend, that's fine. But you need to set the time limits and stick to them. This is a big test in form of discipline. Are you disciplined enough to actually stick to the fact that you told yourself you're not going to work? Also, I mentioned this earlier on, set boundaries. It limits time wastage. When you know that you need to set boundaries and time limits on things, it eliminates time for idling and wasting time. The idling will be your time. That idling will be your time. So we can't even call it idling. We're calling it rest. And this is something that I struggle to do a lot, but I do it. And when I do it, I do it very well. Very, very well. Man, you don't need to ask me twice. About resting, I will rest, baby girl. I will absolutely rest. You ain't gotta tell me twice. I will absolutely rest. So set those boundaries because it helps eliminate all the time wastage. When you set certain times for certain things that you're going to do this for an hour, then after that you're going to do this, then after that you're going to go outside and you're going to take a walk for an hour, and then after that you're going to go see your friends for maybe another hour or two, then after that you've set the times, you've set the boundaries. You are not going to negate from that. That will teach you how disciplined you are. If you're really bad at it, you're going to be all over the show. But if you're really good at it, it'll show you how disciplined you actually are. And also, another really important thing that helps you create a work-life balance is to know what your values are. What do you put value on? What is important to you when it comes to value? What do you value in your life? Do you value your friends, your family? Do you value your job? Do you value your recreational time? Do you value your time with your lover? Do you value the time that you spend out going on dates? What do you value? It's so important to bring together what is important to you. What do you value in your life? What's important to you? Because when you know what's important to you, you will give the time to it that it deserves. If your family is important to you, you will give the time to it. I might not see my family every day, but I can guarantee you I talk to them every day. And sometimes we were on a three-way call with my sister and our mom, and we were literally on the call. I think it was a Friday night. All of us had a drink in our hands. We had a video call. The phone was sitting right there. We're just chatting, cackling away for almost 2 hours. And that was my time with my family. That was my time. Even our dad in the back was just like, when are you guys gonna finish? You've been at this. That was my time with my family. Right? When I went to my sister's place for the after, that was my time with my family. When my friends come over or when I meet them out and about, that is my time with my friends. And I do not compromise. Those are the things that I place high value in. Right? Drawing. I don't draw, I color. Right? When I am going through a mental slump or when I feel overwhelmed or when I feel, one of the things that I do a lot, especially recently, is color. I don't even have the book nearby. I will show you. I have a whole entire coloring book, and I color and I color and I sharpen my pencils and I color. That thing I will not compromise on. I will literally switch off the TV. I'll sit somewhere here or I'll sit in the other lounge or whatever, and I will just color. And I love it. And I read and I love it. And I do not compromise on that. If I tell myself that I'm going to read, I'm putting my phone down and I'm reading. Or I'm reading while I'm cooking because I'm listening to it, right? Very, very important to know what your values are. What are your value systems? Because the things that you value, you will make time for, right? That creates the balance for your life. We all value our jobs. We all value the fact that because we have a job, we can pay for our bills, sure. But do you value your job more than you value your family? Do you value your job more than you value your own mental well-being? What's more important to you? Very, very important. The last one I'm going to add is practice mindful living. Practice mindful living. Eat right. When you don't feel good, eat right. When you feel like you just run down, take a walk. Have some body movement. Read. Evolve yourself intellectually. Read, do short courses, study, do something. If you feel like there are other parts of your life that you want to nurture and harness, focus on them. Life is not just about work. There must be some sort of a balance. That's what makes life all the more worth living. You hear my chat? That's what makes it all the more, I said it right the first time. You heard me. You heard me. Shh. Okay? That's what makes it all the more worth living. So when you know that I need to eat well, I need to rest, I am doing this for the embetterment of myself, you will not compromise on those things. You will not sacrifice one for the other. Something happens when you focus on all your attention on one thing and not all the other aspects of your life. Something happens to you mentally, and you might not see it, but it does. It does. You either recluse away, you either just become a very different version of yourself that you may not even like. So it's really, really important to know what your value systems are, to set boundaries, to set time limits, to know what's work time, what's rest time, what's detox time, what's sleep time, what's know-nothing time. But also at the same time, it's really, really important to know what your value systems are. That's how you can create a great work-life balance. I hope it helps. Write things down. Do the things that you're passionate about. Write in your journal, color, draw, have a glass of wine. Sure, that's your rest time. You're allowed. That's all I'm saying. I hope this video helped. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, join the JK family. There is also a membership space with a bunch of extra videos on there, vlogs, boudoir sessions, heart-to-heart chats, and all of that are not on the main space, you can definitely join the membership space somewhere here. There's a join button somewhere where you can join the membership space. And if you did enjoy this video, please like it. As always, thank you so much. Subscribe, share it with somebody that you feel this might be helpful to. Subscribe, join the JK family. Thank you as always for choosing me over and over again. Until the next Just 10 with Kat. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.